Hey Swim Fam, welcome back to another thrilling episode of Swimming on 216. I'm your host, Emma Prinsloo, and I could not be more stoked to have you here with us today. We've got a jam-packed episode for you, filled with the fun and excitement of school galas, as well as a dose of inspiration from South Africa's next big swimming stars. Trust me, you won't want to miss a minute of this. Let's kick things off with a recap of one of the most exciting events on the school's calendar, the All-Girls National Aquatics Festival. 10 of the strongest girls' schools from around the country came together in East London for a weekend filled with water polo, diving, and swimming. If you missed it, don't worry. We're going to be diving into all of the highlights so that you won't miss a single splash. This year, the All-Girls National Aquatics Festival was hosted by Clarendon at their brand new Harrison Aquatics Centre, named after South African swimming icon and Olympic gold medalist Joan Harrison. This incredible facility opened its doors in October 2023, and Mrs. Joan Breetska was there herself to celebrate the opening. From the moment you stepped into the Harrison Aquatics Centre, you could feel the energy buzzing. With its massive 25-meter pool and beautiful starting blocks, the facility is truly built for champions. Talk about a top-tier venue, perfect for athletes to shine in both swimming and water polo. The swimming gala got underway on a windy Friday, and with such a stunning venue, you know the competition was going to be fierce. Special guest and Clarendon Old Girl, Tori Voke, had some special words to share with the girls ahead of the gala.
This Aquatics Festival was made to bring girls' schools from all over the country together. And although there's still competition, and believe me, I know all of you want to win, I encourage each and every one of you to do your best and to just have fun while doing it. So to wrap up my short speech, a last word of advice goes to matrix of 2025. Enjoy every second of this year and take every opportunity to make the most of it, because I promise this year will go by in a flash, and these are the memories you'll hold on to forever.
They certainly were memories to hold on to forever. We saw jaw-dropping races, nail-biting finishes, and incredible speed. In the junior 200-meter IM race, Peyton Aiken showed her versatility, grabbing the win for Durban Girls College in a time of 2:34.6. And in the senior 200 IM, Renish's Grace Morris was the outside smoke, winning from the end lane in a time of 2:24.5. The 200-meter freestyle event saw a fierce battle between Renish's Michaela Lopsha and Collegiate's Gemma Roman, with Lopsha getting to the wall first in a time of 2:20.1. Jessica Carmody of St. Mary's Kloof took the senior 200-meter freestyle title, winning in a 2:10.4 ahead of KZN rival Indiana de Villiers from Our Lady of Fatima. And let me tell you, the 50-meter freestyle dash for cash, it was impossible to call it, with the girls neck and neck at the finish. In the junior dash for cash, St. Mary's Waverley's Maya Mhlina came out on top with a speedy time of 27.4. And Grace Morris was in action again for the senior dash for cash, winning it by the tips of her fingers in a fantastic time of 26.6, only a few split seconds ahead of St. Mary's Kloof's Jessica Carmody. But the highlights of the day, the relay teams. It was clear, this festival was all about teamwork, speed, and heart. Special mention must go to the under-19 team from Our Lady of Fatima, who were unbeaten in every race they competed in. And let's not forget the amazing support from family and swimming fans. Everyone came together in full force to cheer on their teams. And here we have it. After an action-packed day, the final results of the gala saw Our Lady of Fatima taking the win with 397 points. The following three schools were in tight contention, with Aranya Macy schools from Bloemfontein in second with 337 points, just pipping this year's hosts, Clarendon, and the future hosts, St. Mary's Waverley. A huge congratulations to all of the athletes who competed at the All Girls Aquatics Festival and made it one for the books. Whether you won a medal or you just gave it your best shot, you were part of something amazing. After this short break, we're going to be talking to the rising stars in Team South Africa who recently competed at the World Aquatics Short Course Championships in Budapest. I can't wait for you to hear our conversation, so don't go anywhere. To cap off an incredible year of swimming, December 2024 brought us one of the most exciting events in the sport, the World Aquatics Short Course Championships in Budapest. This event was hosted in the iconic Duna Arena, which is the first time that this pool has hosted the short course format of the World Aquatics Championships. Swimming fans from across the world packed into the Hungarian capital, and they were treated to such a show. Records were shattered every single day of the competition, culminating in a total of 30 new world records. But it wasn't just world records that were falling. We also saw 13 brand new world junior records. One of the jaw-dropping performances was from our very own Chris Smith. South Africa sent a young and hungry team to Budapest, with 5 of the team's swimmers still being in school. Today we have the privilege of talking to those rising stars who are making their mark on the global stage. We have Jessica Thompson, Chris Smith and Chris Mihailov with us, and we are also joined virtually by Mila Dracopoulos and Jamie Moat. Okay, so guys, welcome to Swimming on 216. It's so awesome to have you, and I'm so excited to hear a little bit more about your incredible performances in Budapest. I know that we've been going back and forth trying to get you into the studio, so I'm really glad that it has worked out because all 3 of you have recently been in America. So I'd love to hear about that experience. It's a long way there, it's a long way back, and you guys had quite a busy schedule. You were visiting different schools. Jess, I know that you had quite a busy schedule. Which schools did you visit, and how did you decide out of all of them across the whole country which ones you wanted to go to?
So for me, I went to 4 schools. I started off at UVA, Virginia. I moved to NC State after, Gators in Florida, and then we stopped at Tennessee for the last one. And for me, I think it was, you go through quite a recruiting process. So you speak to the coaches for a bit on your phone, you just set up calls and stuff. So for me, it was kind of just getting to know the coaches, the programs, and just seeing which ones I think fit me the best.
And what were the people like? I mean, were they friendly? Were they welcoming? Obviously, they've been through the recruiting process themselves. So when you arrived, say, out of Virginia, did you meet up with Amy Canny by any chance? And how were they sort of towards you as you arrived?
So I think it was really amazing just seeing everyone there and how well they fit in as a team, how amazing all the dynamics are between everyone. So Amy was actually my host, which was so nice. They tried to stick the South Africans together. So it was really nice just like having a little bit of home with me there. So she let me stay in her room. I saw how she was living, how she's managing. She's loving it over there.
She's honestly such a dear friend and teammate, so that's really, really great that you got to spend some time and also have an insider view of how she views the program. And Chris, I know you've recently matriculated, so these decisions are maybe a little bit more imminent for you. They're coming up sooner. What were your thoughts on the American system, and which schools did you visit?
So the system is a lot different from South African systems, especially because I'm Afrikaans, so everything I do is in Afrikaans. So I have to get like all my marks and everything in Afrikaans and send them through, and then they work like different. So we have to get them like I want to say like transferred to American system and everything. So it's quite a process, but I think it's worth it at the end of the day. And I visited Virginia and the University of Tennessee.
Okay, that's incredible. Let's go back now to a South African meet that happened end of last year, and that was actually trials for these World Aquatics Short Course Championships. And I was fortunate enough to be there. I had the privilege to interview some of you guys there, which was really fun. So it's cool that I get to, double up and interview you again. But going into those trials, sometimes the trials can actually be more intense than the actual meet because you've got to hit those A cuts. Everything has to come together so perfectly. So Chris, you executed an incredible 800-meter freestyle and you actually broke Rake Neertling's 20-year-old record, which was awesome. And on the way, you obviously got the A cut, but you had quite a busy program. Can you run us through how that 800 went for you when you broke that South African record and how it gave you confidence going into Budapest?
Well, on the first day, I came in pretty strong and on my 100 free mainly. So I knew that coming into the second day, usually I would progress in terms of my times, throughout the race and like all the goalless. So second day I had my 800 and my 200 and I just decided to go for it. Spoke to my coach and he told me that I could actually have a shot in this. And I actually didn't have Rijk's name there in the picture. I just was going for the A cut, but when I broke the record, it was simply amazing. So it was really
so amazing. Such a bonus. If you didn't even have that record in mind, you were just going for the A cut. You knew you wanted to stamp your name onto that team, and in the process, you swam the fastest time in South African history. So that must have felt really special.
Yeah.
And Chris, you won both the 50-meter and the 100-meter breaststroke at the trials. And you had quite an incident before because your suit ripped. I remember we had to delay the start of one of your races because your suit ripped just before you were about to walk out for that race. Do you think that gave you a little bit of extra adrenaline? I mean, can you remember what you were thinking in that moment?
I was just like, I need to get a new suit on. So firstly I went to tie my suit and then it broke. Then I just stood there and thought, well, what am I going to do? Then I just ran to my coach, told her what happened. Then I just got a new suit, put it on, and then went to swim. So I definitely think it got me less stressed because I wasn't thinking about the race. I was only thinking about getting a new suit on.
Okay, so it actually changed your mindset from what's going to happen in this race to, oh my gosh, am I going to have a suit on in time for this race? It must have been really stressful, but you still got the job done. And I think it was, you had a great breakout year into 2024. And I think it was awesome to see your performances at trials and kind of gave us a little bit of a glimpse of what we could have expected in Budapest. So it was really awesome to see you doing so well. And Jess, I know you also had quite a busy program at trials. Your favorite event, I would assume, is the 50 fly. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, you had.
And in that event, you actually had to time trial to get that A cut. Personally, as a 50-meter swimmer, I know that those margins are so tiny and every split second counts. Everything has to fall into place perfectly. So what was your strategy going into that time trial when you knew that you'd been so close in all of the races building up to that 50-meter fly?
I think for me it was all about just relaxing my nerves. I think the past two races that I tried out for it, the heats I was so close, missed it by 0.7, 0.07. So it was such a fine margin. But I think when I was sitting in the marshalling tent just getting ready for the race, I knew I had it. So I think it was all about just the excitement of doing it and actually getting my first A time.
It's never done until it's done. It takes an absolute village to get us to trials, and then once we're there and we've swum the times, we still have that agonizing weight of, is my name going to be on the team list? So Mila Drakopoulos, a huge welcome to Swimming on 216. It's so awesome to have you. I know that it's been a bit manic trying to get hold of you with your busy schedule, and you've just finished training, so thank you so much for joining us. We're really, really happy to have you here. How did those trials go for you at the SA Short Course Nationals in Durban? And what did you think of your performances? What were your sort of expectations going into those trials? And were you happy with how everything went?
Yeah, so leading up to SA Short Course, we didn't aim to taper for it. We were kind of aiming to taper for KZN Champs and World Short Course if I qualified. And so yeah, I kind of got there very chilled, saw everyone, freaked out a little bit because I wasn't tapered. And then I think the adrenaline carried me through my racing. So yeah, I was happy with my 100 back time because that's the fastest I've been untapered. And the turnerback I was very happy with. I just broke into 10, which is actually quite a milestone for me, especially because I'm still getting used to the turnerback. And it was just a lot of fun to race with everyone down in Durban. I think it was really cool vibes. I mean, the 50 backstroke was a bit of a mess up because, I mean, the lights went out and we kind of swam in the dark, literally. But
I remember that.
yes. I was super blessed though that I did qualify for the 100 back, and I was so excited to go to World Short Course because it was kind of like a full circle moment for me, because I had back in 2022 at SA Short Course I won the 100 back, and that was my first senior title, and it was special for me to win it again and go to another World Short Course. So yeah, I was very, very blessed.
Jamie Moat, it's great to have you here with us on the Swimming on 216. It was great to see you represent South Africa in your first senior national team. So let's take it back a little bit first. We know that you swam at SA Short Course, which was World Short Course Trials in September in Durban. And I would love to know, what were your goals going into those trials at SA Short Course?
Yeah, thank you. To be honest, I didn't really have much of an expectation going into short course. It was more just go there, have fun, see what I can do. To be honest, I wasn't even like the 100 fly. Like I was going to like go and swim, but it wasn't like, okay, go and like qualify. It was more just go, see what you can do. It was more actually the 200 fly that I thought maybe I had a chance in. And then it just kind of like, I suppose also because I didn't have the pressure, I didn't put the pressure on myself for the 100 fly. So I just went and swam, and yeah.
Yeah, sometimes those races turn out with the best results. So once that had happened and you saw your name was stamped onto the team, I mean, for all of you guys, did your preparation change at all? You were balancing school and training. It must have been quite challenging coming into the end of the year. Were there things that you changed, Chris?
I kept it the same.
Okay. And you had matric exams.
Yeah, so that was...
That must have been really tough.
Yeah, so I had to like change my practice times and change the whole schedule around my tests.
Did you have a very demanding schedule, or were your tests sort of spread out a little?
No, so my tests were like, all my tests were in the first 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you were somehow squeezing training in between all of this.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. Chris, you have a slightly different setup with school, I believe, and your school is online.
Yes.
So how does your schedule work in terms of, now you've made the team for Budapest, how do you arrange things to make sure that you're putting in the work that you need to, especially as a distance swimmer?
Well, luckily enough, my school is pretty flexible. Being online is quite the option, I guess, and it will really help you when it comes to professional sports. So
definitely.
I managed to work around my times, and that assisted me quite a bit with balancing, sport and school.
Do you write your exams online, or did you actually have to still write them in person?
I wrote them online, which is, I guess, a bonus. You don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, okay. So you were able to get that extra rest and recovery in and kind of balance the demanding school life as well as your demanding training schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. And would you recommend online school?
As a professional athlete, I surely would, yeah.
Okay.
It helps a lot.
And Jess, you've kind of had the best of both worlds. You've been at an in-person school, and you've also had the opportunity now to go online. And how did that balance come into play now that you're preparing for your first sort of senior national team? Did you feel like it made the world of a difference?
So for me, I think it made such a difference. My hours now are so much more flexible. I go in from 9 till 12 every day.
Okay.
Which I think every person that goes to normal school envies.
So you still go in to a school or a...
So it's kind of like a study centre thing. So there's a few tutors that are around to help you when you need. There's lessons, but the classes are really small, so it's quite individualised, which is like so amazing for me. My academics, my marks have all skyrocketed.
That's great.
It's really amazing. Like Chris said, I think being a professional athlete, you need to find a system that works for you, that helps you balance the immense amount of training that you need for swimming. And I mean, especially when you're trying to do triples a day, it's really hard to be waking up. That's what I used to do, wake up at 4:15 every morning, try and hit a gym set-in, hit a swim set-in, and then go at 7 o'clock and write a math test.
Yeah.
And by the time you're writing that math test, everything's out of your head already. So I mean,
You just need a nap, to be honest.
literally. So I did struggle a bit with conventional school, but the school that I was at, St. Vivian's, they helped me so much. So I mean, they helped me reduce my subjects. I was only doing 3 in a few terms, so I could come in, go out, go train, which was so amazing.
That's
but
great.
yeah, it was really good. But I definitely prefer online now, and I think it's nice being able to wear like your own clothes, not having to wear a uniform. But there are some parts of school that I do miss.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's kind of a pros and cons, you know, like with everything. I think maybe the wearing your own school, you know, your own clothes is getting you set up for an American system. You mentioned that you hadn't tapered, so did you just carry on with another hard block of training, or what were the sort of motions that you went through to prepare for Budapest?
Yeah, so when I touched the wall on that 100 back, because leading up to the final, I just remember I was extremely nervous because I wasn't tapered and those girls were swimming really fast. And so I really was just trying to get into, you know, the zone. And so when I touched for that and I won, I barely won. I just remember looking at the touch screen, and it's one of those memories that you'll always remember in your swimming career. And I just touched and I just closed my eyes and I just remember floating on the water and thanking God, because it really was like a miracle race for me. I don't remember the race at all. And yeah, so after that, the training, we kind of just carried on with the training block, and then we tapered down to World Short Course. I had exams during that time and I had a shoulder injury, so it was difficult, but I kicked through it and I was okay. So I was happy, and I think that contributed a lot. So I did keep up the training, and then I had exams, and then just before Budapest I'd finished, and then taper started. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say a happy swimmer is a fast swimmer, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how happy you must have been balancing schoolwork and training and an injury, which is never nice to deal with. I'm sorry to hear that.
No.
But you actually have quite an interesting, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the St. John's experience that you've had. I believe that you split your matric year over 2 years. Is that correct? Or can you explain a little bit about your school load and how St. John's has helped you balancing a very demanding swimming career as well as trying to finish all your matric exams?
Yeah, so St. John's has been an unbelievable help. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I seriously wouldn't be where I am now. So about 2 years ago, the end of 2022, we were going to try and qualify for the games. So we sat down and we were like, okay, so what do we need? And I needed to be at all the sessions and do all the distance, because often when you swim the early morning sessions, you have to get out early to go to school and make it on time. So what they did for me is I split my grade 11 year into 2. So I did 4 subjects in 2023. And basically, whenever I had my lesson, I would go into school, and then I would come home and I would rest, or I'd go to gym, or I'd go to physio, because it's not just swimming, it's everything else that's around it. And so yeah, some days I wouldn't even go to school, and they posted everything online, so I just do it at home. The teachers were an amazing help. I mean, I was definitely a bit of a pest because I would always come for extra lessons after hours, but they helped me. And so yeah, and then last year I did my other 3 subjects, and this year I've got my full schedule, so I do all 7 subjects, but they have given me grace where I can go in at 8 o'clock in the morning every day, and I can leave at like 1, 2 as well, so that I can get home and rest on some days.
Okay, incredible. So they've been really accommodating with the huge training load, and especially building up to Paris, which was obviously really tough to try and get that training in along with grade 11, which is almost just as important as matric. And so looking at that, then did you have the 200 fly in mind to try and qualify for World Short Course? And when you realized that you had qualified in the 100-meter butterfly, which was slightly different, did your training change? How did you sort of balance everything going into your first big senior championships?
To be honest, the intensity changed a bit, but not much of the way I trained, like that sort of all stayed the same. My preparation did change a bit because I injured myself.
Oh no.
So yeah.
Oh, sorry. What happened?
I tore my ligaments in my ankle.
Oh my gosh, Jamie. I'm so sorry. That must have been a real challenge to overcome. And so how did you adapt your training in order to deal with that injury?
To be honest, like my prep wasn't the best. It was sort of like see what I can do. At the time, I didn't realize it was that bad
Okay.
because I sort of carried on swimming and like it was. I went to the physio. I wasn't allowed to swim for a week. No, like 5 days. And like I could walk on it and everything like that. So I didn't think it was that bad. So I was like, no, it's fine, whatever. And so I wasn't able to do the so I wouldn't say I had the best prep like compared to short course. Like I would say short course I had a way better leading up towards it. Whereas the world short course was more of like it was a hit and miss because I didn't really know like where I was because I wasn't
Yeah,
able
because
to
of that halt in training. Okay.
Yeah.
And you also had, end of year exams. So how did you balance your school commitments and your training?
Well, I'm actually very fortunate I'm homeschooled.
Okay.
So my exams were in October, so it was kind of quite nice because I didn't have it like right there when I was leading up to it. So it helped a lot. Like the only commitment I really have is swimming and like land training and stuff. Otherwise, I obviously I do my homeschooling in the morning and then I have the swimming in the afternoon. That's all I really have.
Okay, so you were able to balance those commitments quite well, and you didn't have exams looming over you as you were preparing for this. And in Budapest, I mean, you guys have represented South Africa before, but this was now your first sort of senior trip. And I think the jump from watching these kind of things on TV to now being at the warm-up pool, being in the call room, seeing Gretchen Walsh or,
break the world record in front of me.
right in front of you. That is such a huge jump. And also just the size of these athletes. You learn so much just from being there, watching them interact with their coaches. All of that kind of stuff is so valuable for you guys. So, but before you'd even gotten there, what were your sort of expectations? Because I think when we watch these athletes on TV, we don't realize until we are right there next to them what we actually are getting ourselves into and the kind of excitement that you get, especially at Duna Arena. That pool is
Electric.
honestly amazing. Chris, what were your sort of expectations? Did you think that Duna Arena would deliver the way it did with the excitement and the crowd?
I mean, no, to be honest. I really underestimated it because I came in there with a bit of confidence after trials.
Yeah.
And when I went into there, it's like, so much like just jumps into you because you don't really realize, like you said, the sheer size and like the talent that's like around you. And it's a really nice atmosphere as well. And as well as with the crowd, it's always electric. And I think that was also the record of like most world records broken in a swimming meet, which was quite the experience.
Yeah.
And I was really blessed to be there.
Must have been incredible to witness. I mean, Jess, you were in some of the races with Gretchen, who was breaking all of those world records. What was the crowd like? We saw you pop up a few times on the screen cheering. To me, that's one of the most exciting parts of being there at a meet is actually cheering your teammates on. But it wasn't just you guys cheering, it was like thousands of fans.
Yeah.
So what was it like being at Duna Arena?
I think coming from South Africa and swimming in these type of galas, it doesn't prepare you at all for something like that. It's almost like going to like a proper rugby game at Loftus Stadium, and it's like just being the athlete there that people are watching, like you just get goosebumps. It's nothing that you can describe. And I mean, I was actually the race right after Gretchen where she broke the 50 fly world record.
That's incredible.
And like I just remember standing on the block just trying to focus on my own race, and our whole heat actually went slower. There was not one person in the heat that actually went faster, and I think that was just because like no one really expected all the times to be as fast as they were.
Yeah.
So I think that pool, it had to get tested at least 25 times.
I was thinking the same, because surely, was it a little bit short? Was it a centimetre short?
I wish it was. But yeah, I think it was just such an amazing experience, just seeing the talent that's out there. I mean, like, I remember I was swimming with fins the one day next to Summer McIntosh in the warm-up, and she was whipping me without fins, and she was just warming up, and it's crazy to see the caliber of swimmers that there are out there.
That's honestly amazing. And you made it to Budapest, and this wasn't your first time, this wasn't your first rodeo. You've been on a senior world champs. We've been on a world champs team together.
Yes.
And this was actually your second world short course champs. So what were your kind of expectations going into Budapest? I think you have raced at Duna Arena before. Have you? Okay,
yes,
so you're a little bit more familiar with Duna Arena. Can you describe what your expectations were going into World Short Course, knowing that it's going to be at such an iconic pool, and kind of what you did to prepare yourself for that experience?
Yeah, so going in, I knew that I was in for the 100 backstroke, but they hadn't finalized relays yet. So I'd only figured out what relays I was swimming, I think the day I got there. And so I ended up swimming the 200 freestyle and the 100 freestyle relay. So I did quite a bit of relays. Yeah, they threw me in the 200, but I did it and it was great. Anyway, so my expectations, I kind of just wanted to do my best because I knew that this year was going to be tougher, and I had such a good opportunity to do my best time in the 100 back. So I had previously gone a 59.2 in a time trial in 2023, and I kind of just wanted to do a better time. And I actually almost matched it in the prelim. It was a morning swim. So I think it is such a major event that you kind of just have to be grateful with what you do get, and especially the lessons. So I knew every time I go into a gala, I know that there's going to be lessons that I'm going to learn, and just kind of develop myself in the sport. And so, I was just really going in there to try my best.
I know that you've represented South Africa in the past on some of the junior trips, and you've excelled in the swimming pool. But this was your first major senior world championships. And what were your expectations going into this competition?
To be honest, I was really excited. I kept on saying to David, I'm not nervous. It kind of made me nervous that I wasn't nervous. Because of everything that had happened, but I was fine going up, leading into it. I had no problem. I was excited, and I think it also maybe helped. I'd swum in that pool before, so I sort of knew where I was going. It wasn't a complete shock. Obviously, it was still when I got there, a shock that I'm actually here.
But you were familiar with Duna Arena and all the excitement and the amazing swimming facility that it is in Budapest.
Oh yeah, but it was still crazy, to see everything, you always think, one day you're gonna swim there, and, actually now being there, swimming it is, crazy, it's
so surreal.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And because your preparation maybe wasn't exactly how you wanted it, I feel like maybe the expectations were dropped slightly. And I mean, throughout all of this, you guys managed to produce PBs. So, hats off to you guys. That's absolutely incredible, and we're really proud of you.
Thank you.
Chris, you had a great swim in your 1500, and you had a really busy program. So, you started off on a high, and how did you maintain that kind of recovery going through all of the long distance events, plus the relays that you were involved in, because you had quite a busy program?
Well, coming off on the first day, I had my 1.5.
Yes.
And it was a PB, and I was pretty happy with it, going through it. And then
there's a new PB of 14:52.
52, yes.
0.53.
Yeah.
That's
so
incredible.
I swam that, but I'm pretty big on recovery. That's one of my main things. Because if you're able to train really hard the one day and try regenerate yourself back to 100% for the next day, it's one of the most important things, to be efficient and to maximize every day. So coming off that 1.5 I was pretty tired. I felt the lactate, but I had 2-3 days in between for my next individual race.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I did have some relays.
You did have some relays.
Yeah, but it was still great to represent South Africa. So it was pretty fun. It was enjoyable, and we were actually lucky enough to get an African record.
Yes,
as a team.
Speak about that. It's awesome.
Yeah. So my recovery has been pretty pretty good. It was a hectic schedule, but at the end of the day, you do train for it as well. So
Yeah.
I
And being
was ready
away
for it.
from home, how do you kind of still stay on top of your recovery, even though you might not be in control of all of the environment now that you're staying in a hotel and maybe not having access to all of your normal recovery methods? What do you stick to when you're away?
I mean, I did try to bring as much familiarity, like recovery methods as possible. So I had my pressure boots, my massage guns,
Good.
try to take a few ice baths. But yeah, I tried as best I could to adapt and keep it as homely as possible. And it worked out,
Awesome.
so I'm happy.
Yeah, well, it clearly worked out. I mean, out of all of that stacked program, you managed new PBs and African records. It was great to watch. Chris, you obviously had the 100-meter breaststroke and the 50-meter breaststroke, and it was PBs in both. So even though you had matric exams, you still managed to pull it off. Well done. But you also had Michael Hooley with you in the 50-meter breaststroke, and I believe it's the first time that we've had two South African men in the 50-meter breaststroke finals at a World Champs since 2016. So knowing from experience, having a teammate in the call room for me really helps me. How did you find it having Mike there with you?
I think it really helped me especially because he already had like so much international experience. So it was easy to talk to him and to like ask for guidance. So it really like helped me feel better and not as stressed.
That's great. It's so nice to have someone to lean on, especially someone older than you that has been to these events before, has a little bit of advice for you. And also someone in the call room. You know, even when I speak to Kayleen and Tatiana, they say just seeing that other green cap, you know, at the Olympics was really awesome for them. So yeah, it's great. And then we have to talk about your world junior record. I mean, what a swim. In the semi-finals of the 50-meter breaststroke was such a highlight, I think, for Team South Africa to see you dip under that mark. And a 25.66, that is blisteringly fast. Did you have your eye on that record, or did it come completely as a surprise?
No, so definitely going into Budapest, I definitely wanted the junior world record. I definitely thought I could do it.
And how did that race go for you? You know, you sometimes you can see a record and you think, oh, I am capable of doing that, but it takes a lot of self-belief to then execute. So how did the actual race go for you?
So the race went quite well. I think with my dive, I maybe could have like got like 0.1 and I had like a really long turn, but otherwise I think my race was really good.
Could you see the competitors next to you? Does that push you on? Because in breaststroke, you know, you're breathing and you can see what's going on. Well, I assume I'm terrible at breaststroke. So I can't say I've ever done a fast breaststroke race, but I would assume you can see what's kind of happening.
Yeah, so after the first 25, I could see like the guys next to me touch a bit earlier than me. So when I turned around, I knew I had to go or else I wouldn't make finals or get a PB.
So it spurred you on to see them at the wall. Okay,
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I must say when you touched and the time came up and we could all see it on the screen and you could probably see it from pool deck, it was amazing. I mean, I know that you had a short interview straight after the race. Did you even have words at that moment? Were you just really excited?
Yeah, no, I was really excited. I didn't know what to think.
How did you feel like your race went, personally?
I wasn't happy with it. Obviously, like I think I kind of, not that I expected much more, but I kind of, the fact that I think it was a shock, like actually, because I didn't realize before I went, I didn't realize that I'd torn my ligaments. So I was kind of like, I think I can do, I wasn't expecting PBs, because obviously I knew it wasn't 100%, but I wasn't expecting to swim that slow. But
Do you think it
just
was
kind of
the excitement and kind of the fact that you had Gretchen Walsh in your heat right there, that maybe the nerves got to you a little bit as well?
Definitely. Like even as soon as I wasn't nervous and I got into the call room, I was like, okay, now it hits you. It just like hits you like and also like I'm usually tall, but standing next to Gretchen, I'm not.
You are a very tall girl. We're very proud of you for that amazing achievement. And yes, we've spoken about the 50s. Every tiny split second counts. And I think you found that out in the heats of your 50-meter butterfly. I can completely put myself in your shoes because I had the exact same scenario at the exact same pool. And I don't know what it is about
South African thing.
1 split second. I'm sure that must have been disappointing. You did a PB, which is incredible, especially for a morning swim. To get up at such a big event and pull off a PB must have been amazing. But to finish 17th, I'm sure, was a little bit bittersweet. So how did that feel, and can you walk us through your 50 fly?
So I was expecting quite a bit of a faster time. So I mean, when I saw the time, I was a bit disappointed, but you can never be disappointed with a PB. So I was so happy that I actually got a PB at my first senior international event. But for me, like when I watch the race now, I can see all the errors I did, which is amazing going forward because I can see what I can improve on. But I remember Wayne coming to me and saying, you still got to warm up for the final, and you still got to suit up and all of that. So I did all of it. I warmed up as if I was swimming it. I suited up and everything. And I remember sitting in the call room and they said, okay, we're missing 2 people. So
Really?
I was first reserve. So I was so excited. I got my hopes up. I'm like, okay, I'm actually going to be in a semi-final.
Oh my goodness.
And then unfortunately,
They rocked
up on the last second. So I mean, but yeah, it's definitely quite a bittersweet thing seeing 0.01. Like it's like, what could you do to just get that 1 split second?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think everything happens for a reason. It's all in God's timing. And I'm happy that He taught me that lesson to show that, like, it's not in my control. It's all in His control. And whatever His timing is what needs to happen. So I mean,
Absolutely love that. That is the perfect mindset. I think we try so hard in swimming to like knock off those split seconds, but honestly, it just is a process and we start seeing that improvement. And when you go to these events, you learn so much. And, you know, especially having Gretchen Walsh as part of, you know, that mix, like you said, you interacted a little bit with Summer McIntosh. Just seeing the high caliber of athletes that are at this event, you can't not learn something.
Yeah.
So it's always really special. And you were also such a key member of so many relays. Do you have a favorite? I know you broke the African record, which was so incredible to watch. But relays are always so much fun. There's a different aspect, there's a team spirit. You're out
Less
there with your
pressure as
friends.
well, yeah.
How were the relays for you?
I really loved the relays. I mean, we didn't really know what relays we were going to be in until we got there. So, I mean, it was kind of just like a bit of a gamble to see which relay you were going to be in. I didn't really expect to be in any relays. Okay. So when I saw my name on the fields, I was excited because you're representing South Africa. And it's just so amazing to be a part of a team that breaks an African record. Yeah. Your name's there and you all bond over that experience. So, I mean, I love the relays. Personally, I love the 50, the 4x50 medley relay.
The medley, okay, yes. Awesome. You led off on the backstroke.
Yes,
awesome.
So it was quite intimidating because I looked to my left and to my right, it was just men. So, I mean, that was it was a bit of a hard one, but I mean, it was really good just to get up there and just do it for South Africa. So I really, really loved the relays. It was one of my highlights.
That's awesome. And I feel like relays sometimes pull that extra special swim out of you, you know, because you're doing it for your teammates. Overall, looking at Budapest in general, you know, you can talk about your own swims or other moments. What were your highlights of the entire championships?
Oh my word, the team I think was so special. I had been with all those girls in a team before, and actually for the first time I was kind of regarded as a senior on the team. There were so many like younger girls than me that I was kind of seen as a senior, and I had to kind of like set an example, which I was not used to. I usually just chill in the back and, you know, just do my thing. But yeah, it was very special because I had my coach with me, Wayne. I haven't had him with me for a very long time at an international gala for the SA team. I think the last time was Melbourne. So yeah, it was very special. Yeah. So 2022 was my last time with him. And it was very special to have him. And I mean, it was me, Chad, Becky. We kind of were under Wayne at a stage. And yeah, I learned a lot from Becky. I enjoy being with her. And obviously, I get to travel the world with my best friend. And that's just something very special.
That truly is incredible. I think, honestly, an experience that will create memories that will last for a lifetime. David Glover's been coaching you and he flew over to support you. And can you just describe a little bit about how this support and encouragement, really spurred you on and was probably quite a relief to have him there with you during the competition?
Well, it definitely helps as a coach, because obviously he knows me and what works best for me and my prep and stuff. So it definitely helps from that aspect, having a coach there to calm you down before a race. But the other coaches on the team were also really amazing. They were very supportive, and all the staff just helped, and even the teammates, everyone was just encouraging to me. Also being the youngest, I sort of felt a little bit, not felt, but I wasn't supposed to be there, but younger and everyone else.
You felt a bit overwhelmed, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it helped especially having David there. Also, he went through it with me, kind of, because it was his first, one of his first senior big trips. So yeah.
Well, that's incredible. And we're so glad that you did have that support there with you. Although the team and the management staff and coaches alongside you were probably awesome, there's nothing like having the coach that was there with you through all the hard moments that led up to that competition. And we're really glad that David was able to go over there and help you out. And
yeah.
I would love to know, besides the world records and your own swim, and if you just had to look at the competition as a whole, could you share your highlight of this World Champs?
It would probably also be when Chris Smith broke the junior world record. Awesome. The whole team and how excited everyone was for him, and because it was such a big moment, and yeah, that would probably be one of my other highlights.
So Budapest is wrapped up. You got to enjoy your Christmas and your New Year's. You're back, down from cloud 9, back to the grind, back to a new year. What do you guys have on the cards for this year? What are the main sort of goals and focuses that you are looking forward to, Chris?
Nationals mainly, coming up in around 2 months. I think it's going to be quite exciting.
Definitely.
And I'm really looking forward to it. And then, if all goes right, we'll be in Singapore for the Worlds, and as well as Romania actually, for Junior Worlds.
For Junior Worlds.
It's going to be quite a heavy schedule this year, but it's going to be really enjoyable, and I'll just go with the flow and enjoy every moment of it.
That's the best attitude to have. I think enjoying the journey and racing so many times back to back can only help you improve. So I mean, for a distance swimmer, your recovery is going to be that you were talking about earlier is going to come in clutch.
Yeah.
And Chris, you have now dropped the school events, your school subjects, and you're not burdened by exams just yet. What are you focusing on for 2025?
So now I think my next goals are to break Cameron van Berg's record.
Awesome.
So I think the first one is his 50-meter breast long course. So that's a 26.5. So I'm aiming to go a 26.4, hopefully,
Cameron,
at nationals.
are you watching this? Cameron, are you watching this? All the way in England. That's awesome.
Yeah. So hopefully, or in nationals or at Worlds, I definitely want to at least come close to his record.
Okay, great. So that's the main focus, the driving force.
Yeah.
Holding you accountable in those hard training sessions. Jess, what do you have to look forward to this year? What are you focusing on?
So I think for me, I'm just going to use Nationals as a qualifying gala for Junior Worlds.
Awesome.
And hopefully Junior Worlds can be my standout gala. It's the last one for us. So I think it's quite exciting to see Romania. I mean, I don't know a lot of people that have been to Romania. So I think it's just nice to go see a new country. I mean, race the best in the world again. And hopefully Team SA can bring back some medals.
Yes,
That's definitely the plan.
So,
definitely rooting for you guys. That will be so great. Looking forward to 2025, what do you have on the cards for this year, and what are the kind of goals that you're setting for yourself in this coming season?
Yeah, so I think I am trying to add in the turn freestyle into my races. So I'm excited about that. Because we do train, our training is very versatile. I mean, we have such a wide range and we train, all together. We don't separate our squad. So I train the same as the 400 swimmers and the 800 swimmers.
Okay.
And then sometimes they train my sessions. So I'm excited for that. And I think this year, with being in matric, I really just want to focus on nationals and trying to get my best times. And if I qualify for World Champs in July, I qualify. And if I don't, I just need to find other garters to get faster at and get my times up. So yeah, really just trying to better them and finish matric, finish school eventually, because it's been another year.
Been a long road.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to look ahead now to 2025 and what that has in store for you and what your main focus will be for this year.
So my main focus will obviously senior nationals. So hopefully to get on track to swim some good times there and hopefully to qualify for junior worlds, which is in September in Romania. So that's like my main goal for this year. But obviously we'll have to qualify for that at senior nationals.
Sounds really exciting. Sounds like a lot to look forward to.
And now that you've been to Budapest, what are the kind of lessons that you are bringing into the season with you, with those goals in mind? What do you think are the key areas for improvement and something that you've picked up from Budapest that's going to help you reach those goals that you've set for yourself?
I think it's just underwaters, to
Okay.
be honest.
I think
Yeah,
it's mentality.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important aspect, when it comes to anything, honestly. It's not just sports. I think mental strength is something really important. And as well as mental resilience, because it's not like, it's inevitable for you to you always have a bad race, at least once a year maybe, or just in life. It's never going to be good. So it's about, I guess, keeping your head up and keep going and finding ways to motivate yourself to keep going with the process.
Definitely. Overcoming those disappointments and knowing that better yet is still to come. And
Yes.
I think in swimming, we have to do that a lot.
Every day.
Chris, what do you think you learned the most from Budapest?
So going into Budapest, I thought I was just as good as everybody else. But when I start swimming against everyone, I'm like, okay, but these guys are so much better than me. Their dives are better, they have high speed, their underwaters are better, their turns are better. So each person has something that they are better than you at. So to actually know that now, you know what to focus on and how to get better. And for next time, you can actually compete against.
So do you
people.
think it's important to then focus on your strengths so that you are then better than the person next to you at that specific thing?
I think you should focus on your strengths, but also focus on the things that you're weak at, that the other person is a little bit better than you at.
So that you're closing that gap
Yeah.
on the international competition.
What lessons are you taking from your races in Budapest that you want to implement in 2025 or in the races that are coming up for this year? And what kind of skills do you think you would want to work on that really became apparent in Budapest?
Yeah, so my first race was the 100 back, and I was next to Kylie Mass. She was in the lane next to me. And I kind of just watched how she was so chill. I freak out in the cold rooms, I'll admit, but she was so chill. And I learned that she's very calm and she's very, she knows what she's doing. So that's definitely something that I need to take with me into this year. And I also learned that the underwaters are insane. My underwaters do not match. I definitely do need to improve my start. So I would take away my start and my underwaters. Definitely I need to take into this year. And also not coming home with a PB, I think has definitely made me more hungry for this year. I mean, I've kind of, I don't know, this year's just been very different to what I'm used to. And so far I'm enjoying it. I can kind of I can feel myself getting faster, but I can also feel myself getting like a little more crazy because, you know, it just gets too much. Gets too much at a point and then you push through and then you just keep going.
Yeah, 100%. I can completely relate. It's kind of like that physical boundary, but then there's also that mental boundary that you have to like start pushing, and eventually like, am I actually insane, or is this what I need to do to get faster? Like, is this really necessary, or am I just going crazy? So I completely understand where you're coming from. And I think it's a great attitude to have, you know, not getting the PB, it's inevitable. We can't get a crack a PB every single time we swim. But I think having that hunger to come back and know what you need to change or what you need to work on is just going to make all the difference.
I would love for you to share a little bit about what you did learn through racing at this World Short Course.
Yes, I definitely learned to not get injured before going into a big competition. Making sure like you like physically like you, because it drains you big time. Like even though I only swam one race, like I was still tired at the end of like the emotional like roller coasters and everything you go through. And like also witnessing all those world records broken was just like crazy to see what people and swimmers out there are doing. And to think like that's what you've kind of got to chase is like being one of them one day.
Well, Mila, we're wishing you all the best. Knowing you and your attitude and your work ethic, I'm sure that you're going to be reaching for those goals in 2025. It's been absolutely amazing chatting to you on Swimming on 216. We'll be cheering for you all the way in the season ahead, and we really hope that we'll see you again on the show sometime soon, and that the training and balancing training and matric goes well. Thanks so much for joining us, Mila. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Jamie Mo, thank you so much for joining us on Swimming on 216 and sharing your amazing experience at Budapest for the World Short Course Champs in December 2024. We were really proud to see you rocking that green cap, and we look forward to all of your performances in 2025, and we're wishing you all the best of luck to make that Junior Worlds team in Romania. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's an exciting year coming up for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us in studio for Swimming on 216. It was so awesome to chat to you and to hear a little bit more about your experience in Budapest. You can follow along with these incredible up-and-coming next-gen swimmers by following them on social media and following the journey as we hopefully see them crack those goals that they've set for themselves in 2025. Thank you so much, guys. I'm wishing you all the best, and so are all of our viewers. We are so proud of you, and we can't wait to have you back in the studio to hear more about your adventures for this year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us on Swimming on 216. We'll see you next week Sunday, same time, same place, and until then, just keep swimming.